much for being here today. The topic of today's video, as you can probably tell from the title, is going to be part 3 of toddler and early childhood nutrition. And the topic's going to be all about meal times and snacking. We're also going to maybe dive in a little bit to the food preferences and pickiness that toddlers have. If you have not yet checked out videos 1 and 2 of the toddler nutrition series, I'm definitely going to be linking both of those videos in the description below. So definitely make sure you check out those videos first, and then you can go ahead and watch this one. And I've actually kind of finished all the research I'm going to do for this series, so there's going to be one more video after this one, so definitely make sure to stay tuned for that one as well. And I want to remind all of you guys to please subscribe to my channel, like this video as well, and I will be so thankful for it. Also, please go check out my Instagram. I'm going to have that linked in the description. Go follow me and I will follow you back. So, okay, early childhood is going to be the parents' greatest chance and opportunity to really set a foundation for their toddlers whenever it comes to teaching them, you know, what foods are nutritious and just really laying down that foundation for them. And the key to this is actually going to be teaching them about nutritious foods, making sure that they learn to love those foods, and teach them about trying different types of foods. That's all going to be, the early childhood is going to be the best time to really set this foundation for them. So today in the US, I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody who's watching this right now that children do not eat enough fruit and vegetables here in the US especially. Not even by half. I guess anybody who has a small child would probably agree to this, that bananas are probably the #1 fruit most toddlers like. And for vegetables, potatoes are actually the #1 vegetable that toddlers like as well. And we also, always realize too that that's not always in the most nutritious forms. This definitely is an issue. I believe that, at least in my experience, and I'm sure for everybody else, that the biggest issue with feeding your toddler is going to be all about their preferences. Young children don't really like a whole lot of different types of foods. They normally kind of stick to 1 or 2 or 3, maybe if you're lucky, staple foods that they love to eat all the time. And this can definitely be an issue because if you're not introducing a variety of fruits and vegetables and grains and, all the food areas of nutrition that you need to include in their diet, this can definitely be an issue. Children are very particular, especially when it comes to picking what types of foods that they like. They really like sweet fruits. They like mild tasting vegetables. And, because they're so small, they're very sensitive to heat. They don't really like hot foods. That means spicy foods or foods that are too hot in temperature. And they also have a lot more taste buds on their tongue than, an adult would. So they're very sensitive to really strong flavors as well. So you really want to keep those things in mind whenever you are planning out your toddler's food. Toddlers really like small portions of food, and they really like to eat with small utensils, normally at little sized tables. The problems with the larger portions is not so much that they're going to overeat, but what they're going to do is they're going to fill up on whatever food that they like the most out of that portion. So let's just say you serve them a big portion of, for dinner or for lunch or something that includes all kinds of different foods. They're going to fill up and eat the most of whatever particular food they like the best and then neglect the rest of it. So it's really good to, at least in the first 3 years of their life, just keep the portions pretty small. Okay, so let's talk about something that is very commonly seen with most toddlers, and that is something called food jags, which is whenever a toddler will go for weeks at a time really refusing to eat anything except for 1 or 2 or 3 different types of foods. And, you know, this is very common. Like I said, it happens all the time. This isn't too much of an issue just because, you know, their bodies are growing and they're going to be taking the nutrients out of whatever foods that they're eating. So it's really important to just notice that this is something that does happen and that it's very common. So what you want to do during these food jags is just kind of let it run its course. You know, if after a few weeks they're still refusing to eat any other types of foods besides the particular foods that they want to eat, you know, what you can do is just slowly but surely try to introduce new foods into the diet, you know, slowly. That way they're not overwhelmed by it. And then eventually they'll probably start to kind of explore the new foods and stop only eating the particular foods that they want. I think as a parent, it's really important to realize that bribing your child to eat healthy foods, kind of, you know, maybe telling them you get extra TV time or you get, you know, something in exchange for eating or trying a healthy food is really just going to be doing a lot more damage, because it's not going to teach your child to really like this new food. You know, they're going to be wanting a reward for eating something healthy, and they're still going to keep their preferences for the junky types of foods. The less bribing, if we can just cut it out completely, that's really the goal here as a parent. When it comes to high calorie snacking foods such as cakes, candies, chocolates, you know, crackers, just junk food. I mean, something that I'm sure you as an adult even enjoy anyway. The same rules are going to apply as they would for an adult. You know, the less of those foods that they're consuming, obviously the better, but it's okay to have something like that here and there as a treat, just as it would be for you as an adult. You just want to make sure that they're kept to a minimum. Okay, so a huge topic I wanted to talk about is going to be food neophobia, which is a universal thing that happens with toddlers, just as the food jags are. And basically it's the fear of trying new foods. And it happens all the time. Research actually shows that they don't really know why it happens. I mean, it could be something instinctual or instinctive. I guess instinctual is not a word, right? It could be instinctive. You know, just I guess maybe toddlers back in the day didn't want to try new foods that might be toxic or something. It could be in their genes, or they simply might just not like the way something looks or tastes, or I'm sorry, not tastes, but smells. You know, these aversions to new foods happen even just at the sight of a new foods, and nobody really understands why it happens, but it does, and it happens with pretty much every toddler. But obviously the fact that sometimes toddlers don't like to eat vegetables and fruits, and they don't really get either enough calories, or maybe they're not getting the right nutrients because they're not eating enough of a different variety of foods, it absolutely has the potential to cause problems. And you as a parent, you know, there's definitely things that you can do. I think that the number one thing that a parent can do is just to be positive. We definitely want to make meal times a positive, happy, and upbeat time of the day. If you are in fact trying to teach your child to try new foods, or get them to, you know, learn about even that some types of foods might be a little bit more better for their bodies than other types of food, any kind of negative energy is going to interrupt that learning process. So we really need to stay away from it as much as we can. Just bring positive, happy energy to the dinner table, to the lunch table, to the breakfast table, even though it might be frustrating for you as a parent if your child is not eating the types of foods that you want them to eat. Some great examples of ways that you can maybe get your toddler to get over that food neophobia and try new foods would maybe be to introduce the new food to your toddler, whatever you're trying to get them to eat that day or that during that meal, and give it to them at the beginning of the meal. And just because your toddler is going to be real hungry, so maybe if they're really hungry, they're more likely to eat that kind of food, and don't really have other types of foods around it. Just that way, you know, if they're really hungry, they're going to eat it, and they might try it, and they might like it as well. And also, the number one thing I think that as parents we really, really need to do, and it is our responsibility to do for our children as well, is to lead by example, because your child is going to want to eat what you eat. They see you eating, they see other people in the family, in the household eating certain things, and I'm sure they're going to want to be like you. They're going to want to try them out as well. So if they see mommy and daddy eating carrots and broccoli and spinach, I'm sure that they're going to look at you, see what you're doing, and want to do it as well. Also, just remember that your child is also entitled to their likes and dislikes as well, just like you are. We also want to make sure that we are not encouraging our children to clean their plate no matter what. We want to, be aware of the fact that our toddlers know when they're full. So if they're full, don't make them eat. And if their plate is not clean, don't make them clean their plate, because this can definitely lead to problems later in life, which I definitely want to talk about at some point on this channel, but it starts in childhood. We don't want to make that a learned behavior at all. So just to recap, we want happy environments for meal times. We don't want to beg our children to eat. We don't want to make any, type of negative energy around meals. No power struggles at the dinner table. Let's just say that. No power struggles at all. We don't want unbearable meal times. Even you or I would not want an unbearable meal time. So, my advice too is also just to get creative with what you're feeding your children. There are so many different types of ways to include vegetables in foods that you can eat throughout the day, and that they're not even gonna know are in the foods that they're eating. My go-to ways are obviously smoothies. Smoothies are delicious. Toddlers love them. You can put fruits and vegetables in them. You can also bake vegetables into muffins and loaf cakes. And my personal favorite way is to put vegetables in brownies and oatmeal. So, have fun, be creative. Food planning and cooking can be something fun. And as far as snacking goes, children should be snacking. It's perfectly fine. If your toddler is hungry in between meals, it's not a big deal. We just want to make sure that we're giving them healthy options for snacking. Fruits and vegetables are the best snacking options, but you definitely want to make sure you're getting whole grains in there as well. So if they want crackers, graham crackers, something like that, that's perfectly fine. And there's all kinds of options out there for snacks. So snacks are good. We don't want to only make our toddlers eat 3 meals a day. If they want snacks in between, that's perfectly fine. All right, everybody. Well, that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching the video today. I really appreciate it. Once again, subscribe to the channel, like this video, go follow me on Instagram, please. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.